Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. It's your girl Lori, and I am freshly back from Ireland, and it was spectacular. And I wanted to take this week, like the next 5 videos, to just kind of go through things I learned there, but also things I experienced, like emotionally and all those things. Really good for you to know. So this one episode is going to be on the travel, both there and back, because I feel like it's important, right? Like you need to know how you're going to get there. I mean, I did my nails. They're like 2 weeks old now, but I did them. I was like, green, gotta have green. Ireland was magnificent. Could I live there? Absolutely. Now, I went on a very excellent way to go. My friend Casey works at a tire shop, and they sold their top performers or whatever for Bridgestone. So they give them an all expenses paid trip. Your girl was her plus one, right? So I did get to go for free, minus any monies that I spent like shopping and things like that. But I will tell you price-wise, because in my brain, I'm like, I want to go back here. Probably not going to go back there that way because it was like top of the line. But it is such a great country that I know that you can do it on a budget because I looked at it. So our travel over was booked on British Airways. So depending on where you live here in the States, now if you're in the States watching this, depending on where you are in the States, you can get a direct flight to Dublin. I am in Maryland, so I was flying out of Baltimore, BWI, and so we did a connecting flight to London, so Heathrow, which is kind of weird because like you overshoot it, like you go past Ireland, then you land in London, then you take it's literally such a fast flight. It would be an hour tops. It's just like up in the air, and now we're in Ireland. Super easy, and we flew British Airways. As a person who typically only flies Southwest, I know everything about Southwest. I feel like I'm a Southwest worker, right? Whole different side of the airport I didn't even know existed. Because when I flew to Iceland, we flew out of Dulles because it was cheaper. And I do think that if you're flying out of Maryland, you want to go out of Dulles because I do think it's going to be cheaper and you can get a direct flight from there. But again, these flights were given to us, so you're going to take what you get. If somebody says, here's a trip, you do whatever they tell you to do. But British Airways was amazing. It was kind of funny though. So on British Airways, when you're flying international, there's 3 tiers. You have your first class, then your mid-range class, and then we were in the economy, which was fine. I don't care if you put me in the baggage or in the bathroom or wherever. It's a trip to Ireland, I'm going, right? But when you walk on the plane for British Airways, you have those little pods, those fancy little pods that I really have decided I want to take a flight in. They just look super spacious and comfortable. You walk to the second section, which I thought was our section. Nice, roomy, 2-person seat, got a little footrest and everything. I was like, oh my God, this is fancy. This is going to be awesome. No, you keep walking. And you keep walking. And then that looks more like, it was actually, the flight over was a little bit, not a smaller plane, but the seats were smaller. So I was in the middle because her husband was originally supposed to go, couldn't make it. So she asked me if I wanted to go. Yes, I do. So I was in the middle, and it was really small, but they are very kind on this airplane. Now, because we were taking an 7.5, 8-hour flight in one direction, we did get 2 meals, 2 hot meals. Well, 1 hot meal, one was like a breakfast type sandwich. And it was amazing. They were very kind. I had a spot of tea when I got over the pond, and it was amazing. So British Airways was pretty awesome, but I will say, I looked up what those flights would have been. Now, I know that they booked them back in September. I know they were not this price. So you want to be careful because it was like a $3,400 round trip per ticket. I promise you it's not that expensive. And I looked at it for the next week or something. So if you book it out, you can get it a lot cheaper than that. And if you can get a direct flight, it's even better. But when we landed in Heathrow, our luggage went straight to Ireland. Our luggage got to go direct. We didn't. And Heathrow Airport, there was a restaurant called Vagabond. And at Vagabond, it was so awesome because it was like, oh my God, you can pour your own craft. You can pour your own wine. Great decor. The food was spectacular. That's also where we exchanged money. Didn't have time to do it here in Maryland, so exchanged money. Currency rate was pretty good. And then from Heathrow, because we had to go into London, you actually have to shuttle over. And then you have to go through this like security again, which was a little weird because I was like, what could I have done between there and here? I didn't leave the airport, but I think it's because we're going into a different country. So going there, so you land there. So we did a red eye there, left around 8:45 in the evening. I don't sleep on planes really. You know, I do that whole, oh God, I slept. Oh my God, how long did I sleep? Like 30 seconds. Like I don't sleep on planes. I'm not afraid of them. I just don't sleep on them. I'm usually doing stuff. I'm excited to get wherever it is I'm going. So I just watch movies and TV, which was fine. It actually went by pretty quickly. And so then when you go from Heathrow to Dublin, it was awesome. Made friends with the pilots. I got to sit in the cockpit. Yep, the actual cockpit, had the little hat on. Look at that. It was amazing. It was so fun. I was like, this is spectacular. Well, because I told the guy I think I could fly the plane, because you should know that your girl would say something like that. I said, I think I can fly the plane. He was like, well, come on. I was like, what do you mean, come on? He's like, yeah, when we get on the plane, before we even go anywhere, come sit up there. I'm gonna show you how to do it. And I was like, well, maybe this is helpful information for future flights. I don't know. So it was great. Steve and Mark, they were awesome. Fast flight, landed in Dublin. It was amazing. Let's talk about the return flight. So the return flight, I realized I like to fly preferably, well, it's not that I don't mind flying at night. Like when we flew into Iceland, we flew at night and then we stayed up. I like to go wherever I'm going. I want to have the full day there. But coming back was great because we flew during the day. Well, here's the caveat. While we were in Ireland, I guess, you know, they really were talking about low staffing in flights and various things like that. So we were like, let's just not cancel the flight. But if you do, you have to pay for me to stay. I'm okay with that, right? But they were saying how they were limiting up until September 100,000 flights, 100,000 people, I think. Yeah, 100,000 people out of Heathrow till September, because they've had to call, in Dublin, they had to call in the National Guard to help check us in, like check people in. Like that's where we are, right? So it's like, whatever. I mean, again, you can't do anything about it. So this is that key. If you have like this like flight thing, and listen, you got to just be able to roll with the flow. If you can't roll with the flow, it's going to become problematic, because you have to realize not everything is going to work on your time. Not everything, just because you say your flight leaves at this time, doesn't mean it's gonna. So you have to be flex in your head. Let me tell you why I say it. So we got to Dublin Airport, which was 3 hours, about 3 hours away where we were, which the last two videos of this week is going to be the Adair Manor. That's my new mansion and castle. Yes, it is, and it is spectacular. But it was about 2.5, 3 hours. There is another airport in the southern part of Ireland called Shannon that was only 30 minutes where we were, but they didn't have any like direct flights, and there was like a 7-hour layover in London, which had I thought about it, I'd been like, not bad, because we could have gone outside, got something to eat in London, whatever. Turned out to be a long flight anyway. So going to Dublin was fine, checked in, got on the plane, 45 minutes, landed. I was like, wow, this is great. Another couple who was on this trip with us was on there. And, you know, so we were just like talking and stuff. And land to London, we're like, oh my God, we only have like a 45-minute connection. So we're going to have to boogie. And it's like, you have to, again, London, you have to get on this little tram thing. It has to take you to the other side. So we're like, okay, we're just going to go. We're going to boogie it out. We're going to be fine. Get over there. We're running. Not running, but we're kind of walking really fast. Casey and I we're ahead of them. And she has to go to the bathroom. I'm hungry. Everybody, you know, we're like, okay, let's just get to our gate. And we get there and we're like, well, nobody looks to be in a hurry. And there didn't even be a lot. We're like, what's going on? Flight wasn't canceled. Doesn't say it was delayed. We should have been boarding. Nothing like that is happening. So we're like, okay, no big deal. So there happens to be this girl who's sitting there who's coming into Maryland. And she goes, oh, no, here in London, it's a little different. I was like, what do you mean it's a little different? They're like, yeah, they kind of have an estimated time. I'm like, okay, whatever. This is good. Starbucks is right there, preferably Dunkin'. Didn't see one there, so we had to do Starbucks. And I was like, well, I'm gonna go to Burger King. I want some kind of food, some yummy food here. So get back, and the guy's like, well, hey, we don't have enough staff here right now, so it's gonna take a little bit. Okay, whatever. Again, you have to be okay with that. If you're going to get yourself all bent out of shape, whether it be on a plane, a car, traffic, things that aren't going your way, that's going to be a you problem, because you can't allow yourself to get caught up in, well, this isn't happening this way. You can be annoyed, But you're going to have to let that go because that's going to ruin your entire day. Whatever. So you're going to have to get on board with this whole go with the flow thing. That's the mentality of staying present. It's what I preach to you about staying present. Really had to work that in this return flight. So we finally board the plane about an hour and a half later. No big deal. Don't care, right? I'm gaining time anyway, coming back to the US by 5 hours. It's whatever. Get on the plane. There happens to be no one sitting on the edge. So I'm like, I'm going to scooch over here because we need space. It's a little bit bigger space, so it was good. Okay, so we're sitting on there. The pilot comes on and says, hey, 2 things I want to talk to you about. One, I'm really sorry that it took us like an hour and a half to load the flight. Sorry, it's staffing, blah, 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 blah. Fine. I don't care. I'm just ready to get comfortable, have my spot of tea, get my food, because we get hot food that's really good, and it's like dessert and everything. And he goes, and there's a little electrical problem, a little sensor problem. So we're going to have to cut the power to the plane. You're not going anywhere. You're not getting off. We're going to open up the back door for some air to ventilate in because it's going to get really hot. Now, remind you, London and Ireland. Ireland especially is spectacular weather. So it's not like hot like you're thinking here, like hot and humid, though it was very warm. But they're going to have to fix it. It's going to take about 90 minutes. 90 minutes. So I looked at Casey and I just busted out laughing. I was like, well, whatever, right? I started doing Insta stories, and as it got hotter, my hair started going up. And I was like, wonder if we should like get a new plane. Like, is this sensor thing important to the plane? That's okay. Your girl knows how to fly a plane. We'll figure it out. So it was about, and it really was every minute of 90 minutes, 90, maybe even closer to 2 hours of just sitting on the tarmac in the dark. But it was fun. I made friends with the flight attendant, and she brought me a bunch of these lovely pretzels. I'm telling you, they were so good. I was eating them so I got up, walked back, talked to them, asked them what was on the menu for dinner, got me some water, went to the bathroom a few times, walked up and down, got to see the fancy place again. You make the best of what you got, Bill. Like, if you don't have that mindset, you're going to be miserable. And me and Casey just laughed. We laughed and we talked and we laughed some more. And she goes, well, if the plane goes down, it was the flight of a lifetime. I mean, it was a trip of a lifetime. It was just funny. So we make jokes about it. And then we got home and the flight was fine. The flight was actually spectacular. Those big planes, you can't feel hardly anything. It was really nice. I watched 2 movies. I watched the new Cinderella, which was so good, with Camila Cabello. And I watched Death on the Nile, which is like a murder mystery thing. It was really good. And then I just hung out, watched some other stuff on TV. We had a great flight. Landed back in BWI, got our bags. None of our bags ever got lost. Lost my car. Couldn't find my car for about 40 minutes. Found the car. Couldn't find the parking ticket. Again, it's comical. And so the lady was cool. She was like, well, where's your original boarding ticket? She gave it to me. It was fine. So the flight over there, you have to allow yourself to make the best of what you get from your flights, right? You can't walk over the pond. Like, if you're going to travel and you want to see these places, you can't let your fear or the idea of control get in your way. You have to be able to get on that surfboard, like I say with anxiety, get on that surfboard and just ride it. Wherever it's taking you, it's going to take you. You'll get to where you're going. But the flights over there and back, it was easy. We flew British Airways. I do know, coming from the US, United and American also do go over there. I was hoping that Southwest would one day go make a big plane to go there, because I have points on Southwest. But yeah, you can find a lot cheaper flights. Realistically, you can do it well under $700 a ticket. You really can. So you want to just, like I said, ours was paid for, so I didn't care where we were going and how we were getting there. But I always like to fly direct if possible, but there's some places that you just can't fly direct to. But yeah, so that's my spiel on the travel and letting you guys know, listen, you got to go with the flow. Make the best of what you got. Enjoy it. Use it as an experience. Download stuff on your iPad. It is what it is. It makes memories, right? So now, this next one, let's jump into Dublin.